Alright, so, hi everyone, welcome back to podcast number 2. We're hopefully not going to just talk about one of the parks again, we're hopefully going to be covering 2 of the parks this time, because we spent the first 2 days in Magic Kingdom, like we said before, and then the next 2 days we split up between Animal Kingdom was the first day, and then Hollywood Studios was the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Animal Kingdom was the second park you got to go to after 2 days of being in Magic Kingdom.
Yes, but before we get to that, hi, I'm Shawn. I am the husband.
Yeah.
Might want to reintroduce ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know me. I'm Tennille Flowers. I'm the person you come to this channel for, and then there's this guy.
Yeah, I exist. And yeah, a couple other small reminders. If you hear random background noise, we do live with other people, and we can't keep them quiet all the time. You might hear our cat scrabbling around or something like that.
She likes to make herself noticed right when I start recording, so it's very possible.
Oh, yeah. And also, we're adults, so we might swear on occasion. It's just gonna happen.
I mean, I do on my channel, so it's not like it's that big of a deal.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, Animal Planet.
Animal Kingdom.
Animal Planet Kingdom Land. I am the best at naming.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was day 3 at the parks.
Very different from Magic Kingdom.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the crowds were significantly smaller, just to start right off the bat. Wait times were pretty much non-existent, except for, like, the 1 or 2 shows that run every 30 minutes or something like that. Then there'd be maybe, like, a 20-minute wait.
Yeah. But before the next show. Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, like, our worst wait times were for the water raft ride.
Yeah.
And that was, like, still only, like, a 25-minute, which turned out to be more of a 40-minute wait.
Yeah.
The timer was off.
Well, I mean, it's understandable because people see that, you know, it's like, oh, it's only 20 minutes for that ride, and then people flood in.
And then the time skyrockets again.
Yeah. So that's to be expected. But I'm just talking about, like, just the feel of this park compared to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, this place is just...
It's all about the animals.
Yeah, aminals everywhere, and also greenery. Like, there is just plant
dinosaurs.
Life. Yeah, there's a few dinosaurs. But, like, everything, like, all the pathways and everything is just, like, through forested areas where it's just, like, nice and shaded and cool, and it's very nice. And, I mean, like, it's split up in a few different areas. It, like, has Discovery Island, which mostly just has a bunch of shops, and then there's like Africa and Asia and Dino Land USA. Yeah. We'll get to that part later. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
I love
End of review.
No, but yet again, just the theming that goes on in each of these parks and like the attention to detail, like In Magic Kingdom, you had, like, the theming of, like, Tomorrowland, Frontierland, Adventureland, all that. And then you go here, and, like, there's such a different tone and feeling to everything. It's like you're still at Disney. It's still obvious you're at Disney, but this just is so much more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yes.
Like... Even though there's hundreds of people around you, you still feel a little bit more isolated than you do in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a few people going by, but it's not just like a giant wall of humanity all around you at all times.
And then, like, I always love walking through, like, the Africa and Asia sections.
Mm-hmm. Because
it's like it's shaded and like the buildings are made to look.
They're stylized so that they look like they could be from that region of Earth, which is really cool. I mean, I haven't been to Africa, and I've I mean, I've been to China a few times, so I can't say that everything is probably 100% accurate, but I mean, it's
more about capturing the idea of something.
It's definitely captures the idea, because in Africa you got a bunch of like stone buildings that look like they've just been around for a really long time and kind of run down. But
remember when we were going through one of the like pathways where you like look at animals and such, and like they had a whole bunch of what looked like to be ruins.
Yeah, like just like old ruins with like ancient Indian like paintings on the walls, which was really neat. And like they self-destroyed it to make it look old. It was very cool. That was really cool. But
like there was even like archways that went up and like looked all broken and fractured.
Looked like they could fall on you at any moment, but they were probably 100% secure. Yeah, stuff like that is really neat and just like very good at setting the mood. Yeah.
So anyway, we came here, and when you walk into Animal Kingdom, there's the Oasis where they have a lot of more North American like animals, and we never actually explored this place too much.
Yeah, we just skipped right over it.
Yeah, because
as in we didn't look at any of it.
Yeah, and we skipped over it not because we didn't want to see it, but because I've been told numerous times that if you wanted to go on the is it safaris, like
if you wanted to do the things that you can go out and see a lot of the animals, do it in the morning when the animals actually might be a little active, as compared to waiting in the afternoon where they're probably being beat down by the heat, and they'll just be hiding off behind some tree far away that you can barely see.
Yeah, and we did, and we went on the safari right away.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because
it paid
the animals
off.
were out, and they were like really close.
I mean, I wouldn't say they were sprinting around with joy, but they were definitely moving.
Yes, like we had those giraffes that were like right next to the vehicle.
Yeah, I guess
that's probably the closest I've ever been to a giraffe without having some form of like glass in between me and it.
Yeah, I guess the first thing we did, was it the Kilimanjaro safari?
If that's the one in Africa.
Yes. Yeah, we went, like, we just walked through the entire park all the way back to the very back of Africa so we could get on this safari. It was the very first thing we did, and on this safari we were able to see elephants, lions, gorillas, giraffes, hippopotami, Columbus monkeys, zebras, various other hooved antelope type animals. There's actually some crocodiles we passed over as well. There was just a lot of stuff, and like she was saying earlier, the giraffes were like right on the path. Like we had to stop and wait for them to pass by, and like you could practically reach out and they might like lick you. No,
whatever it is a giraffe does.
Yeah, but it was really cool. They're really close, and they were the words. They seem to be like a slightly different breed of giraffe than I've seen in the past, because their like patterning was darker than what I've seen before.
Dark, almost black spots.
Yeah, and it was more of like a square shape as compared to like a blotchy, I think. It was just kind of different.
There was definitely a different shape to them. I don't know what exactly it was, but like their spots were
I'm wondering
different.
if these were picked up in a different part of Africa than where most other zoo giraffes come from.
I don't know.
It's difficult to say because I am not a giraffe expert.
Well, and unlike things like the Jungle Cruise at Animal Kingdom, it's like we had another tour guide here, and he had some dad jokes.
but he was also very good at just kind of like pointing out different animals and explaining how they came to be here and stuff like that. And it was definitely not just dad jokes. It was like actually explaining a bit about the animals and stuff, which was really cool.
And Animal Kingdom also puts a lot of focus into conservation.
Yes.
And like there was a bunch of people talking, it's like ways you can donate to their own conservation fund. and like ways you can help the planet and stuff like that. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's very nice. So yeah, that safari was a lot of fun. There was actually like a different safari right there that you could go on, but you had to like pay extra, and you were like on a wire, and like a wire on a track, and you went over like little tiny sky bridges and stuff, and that would have been really cool, but obviously more expensive. Yeah, a lot more expensive. So after that, what did we do?
Yeah, this one's harder to go step by step in what we did
because we walked back and forth a lot.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the quote-unquote attractions are more so like walking back and looking at animals and that kind of stuff. It's not like,
oh, we got on this ride and it was good.
Ride, yeah.
I guess maybe we'll just go section by section, not necessarily what we did in order.
Yeah. So
other things in Africa, I guess there was the Festival of the Lion King. That seems like a good one to go talk about.
It's a show, and I have a feeling that they used to do a Lion King-esque parade in Animal Kingdom, and we saw, like, the end of one of those.
Did we?
Like, remember when we were coming out from Dino Land and back onto Discovery Island, we kind of saw, like, a little mini parade going by?
Did we?
Yeah.
Wow, I do not remember this at all.
There was people on stilts, and speaking of people on stilts,
ow,
sorry, hit his knee. And they were like in bright, colorful clothing.
I don't remember this.
Okay, well, I remember last time I was here, they had like a Lion King-esque parade go through, and I wondered if Festival of the Lion King kind of took over for that, because I don't remember seeing Festival of the Lion King when I was there last time. But Festival
of the Lion King was really cool.
Yeah.
It was about a 30-minute show where it's like you sit around the outside, and then they had a bunch of people just do really cool acrobatic stuff, and like a couple people dressed up as birds did like a whole like
ballet,
romantic ballet, while other people were singing
Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And like at one point they hooked the girl up to a wire, and she like goes spinning across the room.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
It was really cool. And like they had other monkeys that were like jumping on a trampoline and doing like acrobatic stuff on the poles, and like swinging around by their legs and holding other people. Did they get 3 or 4 people
on
like all at the same time?
Yeah, like on a trapeze kind of
it was
thing. That was nuts. And then the flame dancer, guy.
Yeah, and then there was a guy that actually like had one of those sticks that had flames on both sides, and like he showed his skills off at that. And like at one point he got on his back and like stuck his feet up in the air and put the stick on his bare feet.
On the fire parts.
Yeah,
like on the fire.
Yeah, on the bits of fire. He stuck those on his bare feet and just kind of like held it there for a bit. I'm like, why would you do this to yourself?
Obviously, I think there's something going on there.
Yeah, obviously.
He doesn't just burn his feet every hour during the day.
But yeah, that was really cool and a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah, and it obviously took inspirations from the Broadway musical, and yet it was more so celebrating the movie.
Yeah, because they had some giant costumes or animatronics or puppetry. I cannot tell exactly what they were.
People in costumes.
Okay, but like big old puppets that like were in the corners of the room. One was like a giant giraffe. One was an elephant. Pumbaa was on one of them. Timon was actually a guy in a costume walking around. And then the last one had like a big old Simba that like would blink and like could open his mouth and could like kind of dance around. I mean, his feet didn't move at all, but I'm not sure if there was somebody in it or not, because it would have been really awkward to get inside that thing. It's like, were they like laying on their stomach the whole time inside the costume? It's difficult to say, but it was really cool and worked very well, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though the focus would be on the center of the room, all of these things were like constantly like moving along to the music and like interacting with what was going on. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that show quite a lot.
Oh, and as we were coming out of that show, isn't that where I first saw the organization Mickey pin?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So, okay, we love Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Love it. And I've been to Disney World in the past. I have never seen them
Have anything related to Kingdom Hearts ever at all for all time.
Yeah, and I remember even asking some of the people who worked there, I was like, does Disney World have any Kingdom Hearts merchandise? And they're like, oh, sadly, no. And, like, you can even tell that, like, either they've been asked this or they were also fans of Kingdom Hearts, and they're like, no, and it breaks my heart.
So
I was shocked
like,
when
there's
I
just
saw
all
pin.
Yeah, all throughout the different parks, there's just like random little kiosks that you can go and look at, and they have a bunch of pins. Generally, it's stuff related to wherever you are. So obviously in Animal Kingdom, we had a lot of like
Simba
and Animal Kingdom related things in general, and
yeah.
obviously Mickey, Donald, and Goofy stuff are just everywhere and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But randomly on one of these kiosks was Mickey Mouse in the organization suit from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Like, here, we'll put a picture up. There.
Thanks.
That's what it looks like.
Now I have to take a picture of it because
Well, you don't need to take a picture of the pin because it's the exact same as like the stock art of him in that photo, I think.
True.
Yeah.
But
It's just-
spoilers. By the end of the trip, we ended up seeing this pin everywhere, and I was like, "This is destiny. I must buy this," and I did.
Yeah, we waited until the very last day. But it's like, it's just everywhere. There's like nothing else Kingdom Hearts but just Mickey in the organization suit. I guess they could get away with it because it's Mickey?
Yeah.
Yeah, as compared to like other Kingdom Hearts stuff is for the most part more so owned by Square Enix.
I mean, probably.
So that's
it's like
a
one
lot of
those
the reason
things where
why
it's like,
not.
Square could probably sell stuff with like Sora, Riku, Kairi, organization people and stuff like that, but Disney could probably sell the stuff that's Kingdom Hearts related that's like Mickey, Donald, Goofy.
Yeah, stuff like that. But they should just give each other the okay to sell the other stuff and share profits and stuff.
Yeah.
Why would they not do that?
So that I can give them my money.
Yeah, we want to give them all our monies because Kingdom Hearts is amazing.
Yeah. I was really hoping, since we saw the Organization 13 Mickey, I was really hoping we'd see one that was Goofy in his Kingdom Hearts outfit, but we didn't.
Nope.
And I wanted Goofy because I love Goofy, and he's like my favorite
It did not happen.
companion character in
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts. So
No other pins. No other merchandise, really.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat. But I guess back on track for Animal Kingdom specifically.
Yeah.
There was also a train back to Rafiki's Planet Watch in Africa.
Yeah.
Which is essentially it's like it's the conservation area because it like goes past all the enclosures that they put all their animals away in every night to keep them safe and such. And it also is back where they have all their like vets and stuff.
Well, yeah, vets and like scientists and
All the like specifically taking care of the animal people,
yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah, it's like they had windows, so you could just like look in on their offices, and like there was even a window there. It's like if they were doing surgery on one of the animals or something, or just doing like a checkup, you could see them do that. They didn't have any animals there. They talked about animals that might be coming in soon, but we didn't stick around long enough to
Well, yeah, I
see.
think they had like a tortoise in there just before we arrived, but it had just left.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they do the more minor stuff out there if they actually have to do like
Yeah, something really.
like actual like sedate the animal and do surgery. They're not gonna show that out front where all the kids can see. But yeah, they just have like for minor stuff a room where they can bring smaller animals up front, and that's really cool. They also had just like a bunch of tanks with various like smaller reptiles, amphibians, and bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs everywhere. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, just like all along there, that's where you could see all their smaller
And yet again,
animals.
since we were there fairly early in the morning, I felt like we saw them better than I've necessarily seen animals in the zoo or something like that before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like these animals seem fairly calm and we're okay with being pretty close to people. I mean, for those specifically, how it generally worked is they were in a cage, which was in a room behind a glass wall.
Yeah.
Like, we could see into the room where all these cages were sitting, but it's not like we could, or we wouldn't do this, but little kids couldn't come screaming up and like bashing on the glass wall that was actually their cage. They would bash on the glass wall that was next to their cage, so the animals had another layer of protection.
Yeah, and a little bit more privacy.
Yeah, which was, I'm sure, a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I've been to zoos where kids just scream and like wail on the glass, and I hate seeing stuff like that.
Yeah.
No child of mine.
And another cool thing is they had a little mini show there where they had a bunch of animals come out. And a talking point about the show was saying, like, I know these animals are really cool to look at, but
they're not good pets.
Yeah, they're not pets.
Do not have these as pets. These are adorable little monkeys. They will destroy your house and then die because of unhappiness, and like, just even if you try to set up a area that they could live in, it's not going to work out, type of thing. It's like your house would always be 10 degrees warmer than you like, and they're going to destroy all of your things, and it's just not a good idea. Get a normal pet like a cat or a dog.
Yeah.
And admire cool, interesting animals, but don't adopt them, because that'll make them go extinct.
Yeah, because we need animals out in the wild. So yeah, it's like Rafiki's Planet Watch just kind of... It was really neat to see like a lot of the background stuff.
And, I mean, back there they also had
Petting zoo.
a petting zoo, which was just full of sheep and goats. And we live out in the middle of podunk farmland, so we've seen a million sheep and goats.
We
so
skipped that.
We didn't feel like we needed to do that part. But yeah, they had like a little animal show where they brought
a Florida goat. It's so much different than an Indiana goat.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So different. But they had a little animal show where they brought out a lot of various animals. Like they had a guinea pig, but then they also brought out things like
a porcupine.
A porcupine.
A big porcupine.
Like an African porcupine. And a skunk.
Yeah, they had a little skunk there.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably have taken the stink sacs out of that particular skunk.
Probably.
Because, yeah, they just brought it out right there in front of all the
people.
And they also brought out like a...
Was it a hawk?
I think they brought out an owl.
An owl?
A hawk or an owl, I don't remember. But then they also had a vulture.
Yeah!
They brought out a vulture and explained how vultures are actually very important to eat dead animals. Mm-hmm. So don't kill vultures or other carrion birds, because
they're important to our ecosystem.
Incredibly important to the ecosystem. Otherwise, we'll just have a bunch of dead, rotting things everywhere, which will spread disease, and then everyone will die.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And
what else was in Africa?
I think past that, it was just kind of shops and food. Did we eat anything in Africa? I don't remember that we did.
I don't know. I can't see the map. Yeah,
Here's the map.
Don't jiggle it around.
I don't think there was.
Yeah, I don't think we ate in Africa.
Oh, one other thing we did do was the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail.
Yeah.
Which, this is where we actually had the chance to see the gorillas. They weren't on the big trail thing. I was just kind of...
Gorillas.
Yeah, but you could, like... There was a spot where you could just, like, walk back, and there was various other animals. Like, they had fruit bats there, which you could see really easily.
Oh, they were a lot bigger than I thought they were.
Oh, yeah. Now, wait, was that in shoot. I can't remember if that was in Africa or the Asia section. I'm bad at this.
I don't
but
know.
I don't know.
They kind of melded together, especially with how much walking back and forth we did.
Yeah. But anyways, the gorilla section specifically, like, they had a few different cages where you could see the gorillas. Oh, sorry, burp. And in one of the cages, well, I say cage, but I mean, you know, they're
Enclosures.
Enclosures, large, elaborate, fairly forested areas that these animals were in. They weren't interested in small cages because Disney cares about their animals.
Yeah, well, I think they're kind of forced to care.
Yeah.
I don't think it would go over well if they had little tiny cages for their animals.
Yeah, no. Anyways, they had a couple of, like, fairly young gorillas there. I mean, they were probably, like, a year old at most.
Yeah, they were actually playing with each other.
Yeah, they were running around, chasing each other, pulling a random cloth around. One had, like, a stick, and the other was chasing it after it, trying to get it. That was really cute.
Yeah. It's not very often you get to see
Animals doing animal things.
Moving, which, yeah. Really neat.
It was really cool.
It makes the animal lover and animator sides of me go like, I wish I had my sketchbook right now and was like recording this and everything.
Yeah, if we had enough time to do like a second day here, I'm sure we would have just sat around sketching the animals.
Most definitely.
Oh yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite things to do when we go to the zoo is just sit around and sketch animals.
Yeah. And then later we were able to see a couple more silverback gorillas.
Yeah.
Just like sitting around. They didn't do a whole lot. I think we saw one walk.
Just chilling.
About 10 feet and then sit down again.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything in Africa. Over in Asia, they did have a lot more animals, and we'll talk about that. But the first thing we did when we got into Asia is we did the Flights of Wonder show.
Oh, yeah. I love this show.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you couldn't tell from the name Flights of Wonder, it's a bird show where they bring out a bunch of, like, various birds and, like, have them fly around the audience and stuff. And
big and small.
Oh, yeah, there's lots of different things. They even brought out a couple chickens for some reason.
Just 'cause.
Yeah. But...
And there were rats crawling around, too, actually.
Yeah. For, like, one small specific part of the show. They were making jokes about how they have all these birds around, so there's no mice or rats or anything in this area anymore, and they had like rats running along the edges of the building behind them. But no, like they brought out like a couple toucans and various other exotic birds and various macaws and parrots and stuff like that.
I always forget until people tell me
and a great horned owl.
Like how long parrots can live.
Yeah,
it's like
crazy.
I always just think like most animals around such and such size live to be about like 20 years old or something like that. But no, parrots can live for, what did they say, like 50 years?
I think something like that.
It's like, yeah, that's a long time to have a parrot.
Oh yeah, they brought out one parrot that they've trained to sing Old MacDonald, and she was quite old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this parrot was probably at least 30 at that point.
Yeah.
And, I mean, she wasn't gonna just, like, fall over and die anytime soon.
No.
But, her singing the song was...
really cute.
Really cute, because she'd, like, sing a little bit of it and then just stop. And be like, Old MacDonald had a farm.
E-I! E-I!
Oh, it was really cute, and it took her about 5 minutes to get through the song, but it was
worth it because it was adorable.
Oh yeah.
Well, and they had other birds that were like trained to take things from your hand, and so they had someone who's like, "Who here has a $20 bill?" And so someone would hold out the money,
and the bird would go out,
get it,
land on their arm, take the money, take it back to the guy, and then they would return
it. Thanks for the money. But no, they'd return it.
Yeah, and like it's crazy because they would have some birds fly out over the audience and they'd like get really close, like only like a few inches above people's heads or how low these birds are flying.
Yeah.
And like they brought out an owl, and owls have like they don't have like sharp feathers or anything. Mm-hmm. They're like feathered is a bad way to put it.
They have feathered feathers.
Yeah, but it's that kind of concept where they're like really fuzzy. And so they make next to no sound when they fly. It's just like whisper silent.
Yeah, because he flew right over us.
Mm-hmm. Didn't hear a thing.
Yeah, it's like he even flapped like when he was right over us, and yeah, you didn't hear
not
anything.
A thing. Yeah, and they had a lot of big birds, a lot of small birds. This show also brought out a vulture or something, or a buzzard or something, as well.
Yeah.
And there's also, I don't remember what kind of animal it is, but it's like a larger, similar to like a crane or something. It's got like that fuzz yellow mohawk thing going on its head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing is big and cool, and like it actually like flew around the audience too. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm a big bird, I'm not gonna fly or anything. Because I'm really bad at explaining what kind of bird it is, I'm gonna have Tennille find a picture of this bird and put it right here.
Oh, jeez, I don't remember.
Well, it's there now, and here's another one.
No, stop. I seriously don't remember. I'm so bad at remembering birds.
I'll help you find it.
Okay.
But yeah, that thing was flying around. It was really cool. Apparently those are mostly actually fairly endangered in the wild now.
Yeah.
Which is not fun. But yeah, that was a really cool show.
Well, and that was another show that, like, it had a point to it where it's like it had another guy who came in who, like, started off the show being, like, really afraid of birds, wink, and like, as the show went on, he, like, became more and more okay with birds, and, yeah, there's just, like, this theme of, like...
They're cool, but don't like, get them as pets.
Yeah, like, they're cool, don't get them as pets, but don't be afraid of them either. Birds are really neat and important.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the very first thing we did when we got into Asia.
Yeah, because they had a show. Well, and right before the show started, they had an owl out, like, where it's like you could literally like come right up to the owl and like he's like, feel free to like just come right up here and take pictures with it. And
yeah, they didn't suggest touching it because who knows what the owl will do, but you could just like go right up to it. It's really cool.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, and then other things they had in Asia. They had, like, I don't remember what kind of monkeys they were.
Capuchin or something?
Gibbons, according to the map.
Okay.
The map says gibbons, but I think there was a couple different varieties. But they had, like, islands that the paths went by, and these islands had, like, pseudo-ruins on them with, like, bamboo.
With, like, scaffolding?
Yeah, bamboo scaffolding that these... the monkeys, like, they had, like, the really long arms and stuff, and they just kind of, like swing...
Lazily would swing around.
Yeah, swing around on the structures, which look like scaffolding, so it's, like, the perfect size for them to just grab onto and swing around on.
Yeah.
There was a little baby with one of the groups. And,
and it was, like, chasing one of the adults around.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun and cool, and I enjoyed it a lot.
And it was just one of those things where it's like they had plenty of space off to themselves, and it's like just as you were walking on bridges to get from one thing to another, you could like turn and look at them, and
they were just out there chilling, minding their own business, and they were plenty far away enough that people couldn't get to them, and
they couldn't get to people.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then there was another like pseudo safari in the area called the, I'm gonna butcher this, but Maharaja.
Maharaja.
Maharaja. See, I'm butchering it. I'm sorry, but it's a jungle trek thing, and you get to go back, and this is where you can see a lot more animals.
Yeah,
like
that are more
Asian
Asian
animal.
animals.
And I think this is where the bat was.
Yeah, and the tigers were here too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is where the bats, fruit bats.
Yeah.
Fruit bats, which, for those unaware, are the largest bats that exist.
It was so cool because they were fairly close. Like, you could
Mm-hmm.
see them fairly close. And they were, like, folded up and, like, hanging upside down and stuff.
But there was
And-
one that was, like, kind of half open, kind of like
Yeah.
cleaning one of its giant leathery wings, and they're really cool looking. I like bats quite a lot.
So do
They're
I. And
so
it's, like,
fascinating.
usually, like, whenever you're in bat enclosures, they keep it
Really dark.
really dark so you can't see them very well. And it's like here, you could see them really well. They were up close, they're big, and it's like you could see their leathery wings and just how, like, thin and stuff they are.
Yeah.
Like you could see it, and it's so neat.
Yeah, it's really cool.
We also, I think this was in both Africa and Asia enclosures, there was, like, bird enclosures.
Yeah, there was a couple, like in both of the walking paths in both Africa and Asia, there would be one room that had a bunch of birds in it.
Yeah, and it's just like the birds are just like flying around and doing their thing.
yeah,
You
I mean,
just
they have
walk right by them. I mean, if one wanted to land on your shoulder, it could.
yeah. Like, they'd just be right there up next to you. I think it was the Asia one that had some of the really interesting, pretty-looking birds. Like,
Yeah,
there was, like, a variation of the peacock in one of it.
yeah.
It's not like your standard peacock that you normally see, but this
Not
one was
like
like...
a North American peacock.
Is that from
it's-
North America? I thought that was imported from, like, somewhere else.
I don't know, but
It's not the standard
it's the one
peacock.
that you see walking around zoos all the time.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Yeah,
It's-
no, it was like a grayish blue color all over.
Yeah.
And like the female was like more of a lighter gray,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Maybe a little brown, I don't remember. But then there was other like really small birds. They kind of remind me of like a kiwi,
Yeah.
except these were Asian birds of some sort, but like small little ground-based birds. And like the males were like a bluish green and the females were like more of a rosy red. And they looked super fuzzy. They were really cool.
and-
And they were just like right there by your foot.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
they weren't afraid of people at all.
And there was like Disney cast members who were there, and you could just like ask them questions about the bird, and they'd just give you all this information about them.
Yeah, it was really, really neat.
Yeah.
And then also in this section, they had some water buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were right up next to where people were allowed to like walk out and look. You could probably reach over the wall and reach down and kind of touch them, which I wouldn't advise because you shouldn't touch wild animals anyways.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, that's how close these guys were.
Yeah. They were like down in the ditch, and
They're, like down in the ditch, which actually wasn't fairly deep
yeah.
for all things considered.
Yeah. It was like they were just like getting themselves out of it.
It's like a couple water buffalo right down there. Apparently they were afraid of the tiny little like antelope-esque hooved animals that were up at the top of the hill, which are like half the size of these guys. Yeah. Like the water buffalo
Yeah,
were
that's
only
what
put
the
in like
cast member was saying.
Yeah, there's a cast member right there saying that the water buffalo they only got like a year ago, and they're still terrified of those other animals for some reason, which is hilarious. And then right next to that is where the tigers were.
Yeah.
Tiger? Was there? I think they had two different cages, each with a single tiger.
Yeah. I think that's right.
And like this was later in the day, so they were starting to get lazy at this point. Mm-hmm. And so we saw
them, but like they were
just kind of passed out.
sleeping.
Yep. Nothing special. Just kind of laying
Seeing
there.
a tiger is always special.
Okay. Supposedly there was also Komodo dragons, but I
remember seeing the pen. I didn't see him.
Yeah, I
think
don't-
he was like
don't think he was around. Or if he was
he was
hidden.
hiding.
Yeah. Which is a little disappointing because Komodo dragons are awesome in how large they are and also how incredibly poisonous they are.
everywhere.
Like everywhere. Touching them is poisonous. Being bit by them is poisonous. Eating them is poisonous. Just don't interact with them.
Yeah. But they're cool.
They're really cool. It's one of those things that it's kind of. This is just me going off on like a geeky, nerdy rant. Is like Komodo dragons are the largest lizards out there. So you'd think that they can just run around and eat whatever they want. There's no reason for them to need to be poisonous as well. But they decide, you know what? I'm going to be poisonous too. Because why not? Those cheeky jerks. Yeah.
So then we get to actually some of the rides in Asia.
Yeah, because Asia is where you have probably the two most important rides in the entire park that most people think about.
I mean, definitely the ones that were open while we were there.
Yes.
Because in Dino Land, the dinosaur ride was down, which was unfortunate.
Yes.
But anyway.
In Asia, there is...
What was the raft ride actually called? Because I always forget.
That is the Kali River Rapids.
Yeah, Kali River Rapids.
And
this time, Shawn got his revenge from Splash Mountain because I got soaked.
Yes.
It didn't get my front at all, but like when we went down the rapids, it went right down my back and hit my butt, and my butt was wet the rest of the day.
Yeah, this River Rapids is one of those like larger ones where it's a big circular thing that you sit in with like 12 other people, like really big.
And
but
like the people
ours is only
are...
about half full. And we had, like, awesome conversations with these people. Like, there was an Australian guy with his daughter on there.
Yeah.
And there was another couple,
Family.
probably in, like, their 30s or 40s. Also on the ride. And, like, maybe a couple other people. But it was just, like, we were just having fun chatting up. And unfortunately, we were all on one side of the raft.
Yeah, so it kind of, like,
weighted it down so that we were always facing backwards.
Yeah.
As we went down these, which is why Tennille got soaked and I did not, because I was sitting on the other side of her. But yeah, that was a fun ride. I was a little surprised at how short it was, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah, I mean, you go up and then there's like one small drop and then the really big drop and then it's over.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the one where we had a 40-minute wait on. I don't know if it's worth it for the 40-minute wait.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
If it's like a really hot day and you're hoping to get wet to like cool off, sure, I guess.
Yeah, but I would say you could probably skip it, especially if you've been to other water parks with other water rides. Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless it's got a short line, I wouldn't bother with it. The next one.
Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Expedition Everest.
Legend of the Forbidden Mountain.
Yeah, and this is one that I actually was kind of hoping we would have a little bit of a line for, but there was no line. Like, we went straight to the front and got right on. But I know it's weird to want a line, but I actually really love the wait in that ride, because there's so much to look at, and we all just, we walked right past everything.
Yeah, they just have, all these cool, probably mostly fake old stuff, warning people about Yetis, and, it looks really, old and traditionally Himalayan and stuff, and it's all really cool looking, but we just walked right past it because the line was already at the beginning of the ride. And
there's these newspaper clippings of explorers go out and try and find the Yeti and stuff like that. And,
it's so cool.
And these traditional masks.
Yeah, it was a lot of really cool stuff, but we just walked right past all of it.
Got right on the coaster.
Yeah, and the roller coaster was shaped like a steam engine, actually, which is really cool. And this is a neat ride because you go up into the mountain and then you get to the top and the rails have been ripped up. And, it stops, and then it goes backwards through the mountain in the dark.
Yeah.
And then it stops again, and then, you can see, the reflection of the Yeti up above you, ripping out some other tracks, and then he, looks down, and he sees you, and then that's when you take off again, and then, he's there, and you're, going down the mountain and stuff, and it's really cool. I actually really enjoyed this roller coaster. It was a lot of fun because it was another very smooth roller coaster. Even though it went forward and backwards and through the dark, it much better than Space Mountain. IMO.
Yeah, this ride's a lot of fun. I think it's like the most fun of the thrill rides.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I would say this is probably my favorite of the actual roller coaster type rides that we rode the entire trip.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not very many left at this point.
The Seven Dwarfs one.
Yeah, the Seven Dwarfs was also
high,
that was also a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That one was new and very smooth and very fun.
So after we got off this ride, we have a little story to tell.
Oh yeah.
By the time we rode this ride, it was probably most of the way through the day. Again, we kind of wandered back and forth across this entire map because we were really silly and just kept skipping stuff and coming back to it.
Well, we'd spend a lot of times looking at animals, and then
we went over to other areas, and then back and forth and back and forth.
And we'd go get lunch, and then we'd go back and we'd look at more animals.
Again, that's unwise. Don't suggest doing it. But we walked all the way through, all the way through the next area, which is Dino Land. And we're like, yeah, I'm kind of thirsty. I could go for some water.
And we brought a water bottle with us.
Like, we would just fill it up every day at, like, drinking fountains. And so we go to pull out the water bottle, and it's not there. And we're like, where's the water water bottle? And we're like, oh, no. Did we lose it already?
Yeah, this is a water bottle we've used for quite a while.
Yeah, about a year or two at this point.
It was just like, oh, no, I really hope we didn't lose our water bottle.
I mean, we can survive without it, but we're in the middle of a trip and we don't want to have to buy water every day. So it'd be nice if we could find this water bottle again. So we retrace our steps, which was not the straightest path ever. And as we're getting back towards Asia,
there's
a couple stop us and hand us a couple of tickets.
fast pass
tickets for any ride in the park. And they said, hey, that ride over there, they just closed down that ride, and anyone that was in line, they're giving out these free passes to get on any ride, whenever you want. And we're like, what?
The ride they were talking about was Expedition Everest,
which is the ride we had just gotten on and got off of. And I was kind of suspecting we might have lost it while we were on the ride. And then I got this idea in my head. I was like, wait, did our water bottle somehow fall out and break the ride? Because that would be really awkward and yet kind of hilarious at the same time.
Yeah.
So we get back to the ride, and sure enough, it's just completely closed down. It closed down with people up on the ride, so they had to be led down the back paths and stuff. And there's a couple of parts of that ride where you don't have any walls or anything. It's I hope they weren't stopped in one of those spots, because I might not be able to move. But no, we were able to flag somebody down, and nope, it was just in the bottom of one of the roller coasters. So it had ended up in the lost and found, and we were able to get it back, which was awesome.
But there still was that fear. I was like, oh no. Did our water bottle cause this? Are we going to get kicked out of the parks?
Yeah, we'd come up and hey, is there a blue water bottle missing? And they're yeah, it was stuck in the tracks.
Yeah, luckily that didn't happen.
Yeah. I guess after that, we've talked about the rest of Asia then. So on to Dino Land USA, which, to be perfectly honest, we skipped most of the stuff in Dino Land USA. It's the major part of this is just kind of a carnival.
Yeah.
With dinosaur themed stuff, but seriously, you could just go a state fair and find all the exact same rides and the same kind of food, and we skipped that section completely because we don't
it's what is it?
Care?
It's called something specific. It's the
Fossil Fun Games? That sounds...
Or maybe it's...
Yeah, no, play carnival-style games in the heart of Dino Land USA. So yeah, the Fossil Fun Games we just skipped completely over. There's various things in it, like the Primeval Whirl and the Triceratops Spin. Yeah. But we skipped all of those things.
Yeah.
And we also skipped the Boneyard.
Well, we walked by the Boneyard.
Yeah, we walked by the Boneyard, but we didn't actually go into it.
Because, yet again, that's just a place for kids to, run around and...
And if we're wrong, let us know, but we just didn't do it.
Yeah. We did eat there.
Yeah, we did eat there. We ate at the Restaurantosaurus. No.
Yeah, Restaurantosaurus.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, we ate at the Restaurantosaurus, which is the establishment in this park that serves the same burgers and everything else you're going to find in the other parks, and it was good food. I mean...
You had another burger, and I had the chicken nuggets, and the chicken nuggets were really good.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Fries were good.
I think that's about all
we also got ice cream while we were in Dino Land.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the same ice cream we can find anywhere.
Yeah, it's like the Mickey Premium Bar or whatever.
It's the vanilla ice cream with like chocolate coating. It was good.
It was like I got it a couple of different times because I liked it. There was also the Finding Nemo the musical.
Yes.
Which just kind of goes to show Finding Nemo doesn't need a musical, but it was still nice.
Yeah, it's like after the show, I was like, it was only like a
half-hour long
40.
show.
It was actually 40 minutes long.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, it was a 40-minute long musical that covered the basic story of Finding Nemo in song form, and many of the songs weren't very good. And they cut a lot of characters.
Yeah, but the puppetry that they did.
Oh yeah, the puppetry, like
effects.
All the actors did an excellent job. It's just
the dancing and swimming around were in like the huge crush.
Yeah, that was
puppet
neat.
Where they were sitting on top of, like, those were really neat.
I'm
glad we saw it.
I'm glad we saw it because it had a lot of really neat effects and stuff like that. But I still don't think Finding Nemo needed a musical for any reason.
Yeah. And another thing is there was a lot of Finding Nemo stuff at the parks.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised at how much Finding Nemo stuff there is, but I guess there's not a whole lot of other fish-related things, so you want to do anything with the ocean and you want to theme it Disney-wise, you just kind of have to use Finding Nemo because there's not a lot of anything else.
Yeah. And it's like, Finding Nemo is a pretty big movie, but it's surprising that there's so much, like, Finding Nemo-related stuff when there's no, like, Incredibles-related rides or attractions or anything like that.
Nothing, and Incredibles is amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I would probably say you can skip Finding Nemo unless you have younger kids that really enjoy Finding Nemo.
Well, but Finding Nemo was also just a nice chance to sit down.
Yeah, you got to sit for 40 minutes.
Our feet were killing us by that point in the day. We're like,
yeah,
oof.
I straight up took my shoes off at that point.
Yeah, so did I. We also went back into Dino Land, and I showed you where the ride was for Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Because I had been on it before, and I actually really like that ride. I hope it is just being renovated and they aren't, like, doing anything to it, because it's really neat. But it is heavily, when I say semi, like, in quotations, semi based off Dinosaur, the movie.
Get to the point.
Sorry. But... like, the ride itself is more so about, like, traveling back in time and seeing some dinosaurs. And the models they use for the dinosaurs are definitely based off of the movie Dinosaur.
That's a lot of Aladars.
Yeah.
Iguanodon. They're iguanodons. His name is Aladar, you stupid lemur. I have mixed feelings about that movie.
Pretty sure everybody does.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, just walking through that part back in that section is like no one's there because the ride is closed. So it's just completely abandoned and it's super tropical. And honestly, it felt like walking through Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Where like everything's just kind of abandoned, but all the
things are still there.
Everything is still there. It's a theme park that's just abandoned and there's dinosaur stuff everywhere. It's like, man, are we going to have to watch out for raptors jumping out of the ferns and eating us? Because that's what it kind of feels like.
Because there was just, like, nobody else there. Yeah,
not a single person was back there. Even though they had, like, really cool...
I was surprised. It's not like Disney blocked it off or anything.
Yeah, no, you could still walk back there.
People could just walk back there, but nobody was because the ride was shut down.
Which is strange, because they had, like, really cool, like...
model statues of, like,
various dinosaur skeletons and stuff back there.
Yeah, there's a big T-Rex skeleton and stuff, and
Yeah, it was really cool looking.
Shawn and I were the only ones back there.
Yeah, no one else did anything with it, but okay. Yeah, I guess there was also like an alligator or crocodile. American crocodile. There was an American crocodile there that was just sitting there with its mouth open, and Tennille was like, "Is this thing actually alive?"
Yeah, crocodiles are freaky, man.
Yeah, they can sit there and not move for hours at a time. And I'm like, no, don't worry, that thing is alive. Even though it's got its mouth sitting open like that, it's very much so alive.
Yeah, we watched him for a good, couple of minutes, and,
No joke, did not move.
he did not move at all. Finally, by the time we left, he was slowly blinking, and I was like, okay, yeah, he's alive.
And I've gotten much closer to alligators or crocodiles. Like, I was at a zoo in Spain, and you could, sit there right next to the water. Like, in the tank is, a glass tank wall. And there were I don't remember if it's an alligator or crocodile, but it was just in the water, and it slowly drifted over to me so that its nose was pretty much pressed against the glass, which was, 3 inches from my face.
No, thank you.
That was interesting.
Back on Discovery Island, though. There's
yeah.
a couple of
Discovery,
shows.
Yeah, Discovery Island is the final area that we haven't talked about yet, which is the main hub of everything.
Oh, which reminds me, throughout the whole park, they had Wilderness Explorer themed stuff that kids could do and
yeah.
get patches to be wilderness explorers from Up. That was really cute.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the fact that they had that.
Yeah. It's a really neat idea.
So, on the main island, there was various food things, of course, and shopping stuff, of course, but...
Also, the shopping in general, I want to say, in Animal Kingdom, I really like, because it's a lot of, beads and, not necessarily, Disney merchandise. There's a lot of just, clothes that's just clothes. That's, African-themed clothes or something like that.
Yeah. I guess the only real show in this area was actually It's Tough to Be a Bug.
Yeah.
Which is situated under the Tree of Life itself.
Yeah.
Which I guess we haven't talked about the Tree of Life at all.
We'll talk about the Tree of Life.
So, yeah. Underneath the Tree of Life is the show It's Tough to Be a Bug, based off of A Bug's Life. And holy cow, was this show neat.
Yeah.
When I hear it's a Bug's Life-based show thing, I'm immediately like, okay. I don't think...
Why does Bug's Life get a show?
I don't think A Bug's Life is anybody's favorite Pixar film. Please prove me wrong if you want, but it's early and it's just it's an okay movie. It's good.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not crazy amazing or anything.
It's not Toy Story.
Yeah, exactly. But the show was really neat. It was a 4D show where it was 3D, but then they did things the characters on the screen were shooting things at your face, so they like gusts of air would shoot out of the seat in front of you, so it made feel like the stuff was whooshing past your face.
Well, and even there's water that would spritz at you.
And a couple of the bugs on the screen were spraying acid or something, so it spritzed water in your face and stuff like that. And then there was a stink bug who sprayed fog out upon everybody, and supposedly it smelled, but I have no sense of smell, so I cannot...
It did smell.
Okay, I cannot attest to if it actually had a stench.
Yeah.
But at one point, they had giant animatronic Black Widow spiders dropping from the ceiling onto you.
Yeah, because the theme of the show was Flick was trying to put on a look at how cool bugs are, and hey people, you're honorary bugs now, and he's being really nice, and then Hopper would come in and he's like, no, people have been terrible to bugs.
They're the enemy. We're gonna attack them.
We're gonna kill them all. And that's when the spiders would come down,
and the screen goes black and he's like, hornets attack, and then little things poke out of the back of the seat into your back, and it's supposed to feel like you're getting stung, and it's oh geez, that's cool.
they do have a lot of warnings before you go into this show where it's like, this may be a little scary if you've got younger kids, so keep that in mind.
It was actually really intense.
Yeah.
For like how short it was. I mean, how long was this thing?
It's only like a 15-20 minute show or something.
It doesn't say. Whatever it is, it's relatively short. Yeah, like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't terribly long, and also, so like when the show is ending, then
Flick says, "Everybody, please stay seated and let the bugs leave first."
And then the seat of
your seat, like, you
ripples, and it feels like there's little bugs crawling underneath the seat, and that's really neat.
Yeah.
And we heard a few people going, "Woo!" and stuff during that part. It was all just really, really cool.
Yeah. And, all the things that we talked about sound like they could be really annoying and in your face, and I guess, like...
It kind of is. We're not fans of 3D movies that are 3D just to throw things in your face. That's dumb and stupid.
Yeah, but...
it was very well done.
They don't take it too far.
Yeah, they don't take it too far. They do it like a couple of times, but they do it very well. It was a lot of fun, and even if you're not a fan of like, 3D stuff, I would suggest checking it out. It was really cool.
So then that pretty much leaves the Tree of Life to talk about.
Yeah, I think the Tree of Life is pretty much the only other thing we did at this park.
Yeah, and the Tree of Life, for those of you who don't know, is a
monstrosity of a tree.
Man-made tree that it has like a whole bunch of animals
just carved into
the
it.
Side, and like each leaf is like hand put onto this tree, and like they'll move to make it look like the tree is moving in the wind and stuff like that. And there's over like 350 animals or something like that on this tree.
It's a ridiculous amount of animals that have been carved onto this tree. And it's just really neat to look at. And you can see it from most areas of the park. You can see this tree. Yeah.
And I mean, and that's just kind of a Disney thing in general. Disney parks tend to
have one big thing in the center that you can always tell where you are in relation to that.
Yeah, and it helps people not get lost. But now, this tree's been at the park pretty much since the park opened. And then a few years ago, Animal Kingdom would always close early because, you know, it's got animals. They want to have time for the animals to relax and be without people around them. But a few years ago, they opened the park to stay
open just an extra
later.
Hour or two, so that it actually got dark out.
Yeah, and then they started doing this light show on the Tree of Life. And this is the first time I got to see it because they weren't doing this when I was there last time. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, super neat.
Yeah, like they don't do any fireworks or anything like that. Like,
no, because that would terrify the animals.
Yeah, it would be bad for the animals. So that's good. But it's just this light show, and holy cow, this show was so cool.
Oh yeah, there's like nothing like Disney on it really at all. It's just cool animal stuff.
Yeah.
And like the whole tree lights up and shows like different scenes, and it's all really cool.
Well, and like in between these scenes, like they have the lights projecting on this tree to make it look like the animals on the tree are moving.
Yeah, like various animals on the carved tree would like look like they like lift their head and look around a little bit and then go back into the pose. It's like so crazy how long that must have taken to like set up correctly to work.
Well, and before like each little mini show would start, it's like you'd have this light that goes in and around the tree and then up into the leaves, and like the leaves burst out with light.
Yes.
Oh.
It was really cool.
It was beautiful. And yeah, there was like little shows, little light shows that would go on, and then there'd be about like a 5-10 minute wait, and then there'd be another one that would happen that would feature a different animal on the tree.
Yeah, and we only stayed for a couple of the shows because our feet were hurting quite a bit at that point, and we were kind of satiated.
Yeah, and the third one that showed had been a repeat of the first one, and since we had already seen it, we're like, okay, well, we saw what the Tree of Life can do, so we'll head back before the crowds get bad.
Yep. So yeah, that was Animal Kingdom then.
I love Animal Kingdom.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was probably my favorite park of all of them.
Yeah?
And I mean, I enjoyed all the parks, but I think I might have enjoyed this one a little bit more than the others.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely one of the smaller parks, but it was great fun.
Yeah, it's definitely, if not my favorite, my second favorite. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so then after Animal Kingdom, we went to...
Well, not that same day. The day after that, day 4.
Yeah, day 4 of our trip. We went to Hollywood Studios.
Good morning, Hollywood!
Good morning, Hollywood! If you guys don't know, that's a reference to BoJack Horseman.
Which is a great show, but incredibly depressing. So if you don't want something like that, don't watch it. Anyways, back to Disney. Hollywood Studios is a celebration of Hollywood. I mean, most of the stuff is just kind of celebrating old Hollywood things. I mean, there's not a whole lot of new stuff here. It's a lot of stuff from back in the 60s, 50s, some 70s. I mean, they have some older stuff, like they have stuff based on like Indiana Jones and stuff like that. But
you
this
say older stuff.
That's like 30 to 40 years old.
I know, but yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. And I mean, obviously they have more Disney stuff here. And if you want Star Wars,
this is the park to go to.
This is the Star Wars park.
Yeah, because there was so many Star Wars shows, and we didn't even see them all.
No, we didn't. There was just endless Star Wars at this park.
Oh my gosh, and the stormtroopers walking around picking on people and
like
such.
They had First Order stormtroopers that would walk around and like stop people and like ask for their
like,
IDs and stuff.
Stop.
Yeah.
By the First Order, stop. And they like interrogate them a little bit and then send them on their way.
Yeah, it was really cool. And it was obvious that the people in the suits couldn't actually say anything. Their suits, like they could only choose like specific quotes for the suits to say.
At least that's what we think.
Yeah, it seemed that way. Because as we saw them, they would always say like the same things in the exact same tone and the exact same voice. And I doubt it was the same people every single time.
Yeah.
But that was really neat. I guess this is another one of the smaller parks, and
especially right now, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing a lot of renovation right now.
Yeah, because the last time I was here, I figured out what it was called. It was called the Streets of USA.
Okay.
That had like the different huge backgrounds that showed like different areas of the US.
That's all gone right now.
It's either gone or shut down. And same with, there was a car stunt show that used to be there last time I was here. And I think back there was also like a tour bus that showed you a bunch of like costumes and old props and things like that. And I think
that all sounds neat, but
shut down. And that
gone.
was actually, I'm pointing here at the map to where it used to be. I think it's where this green area is here.
That's just the forest.
But it's like this map used to be
bigger,
like that much.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how do we even want to go about this? Do we just want to like go around?
I don't know, because we walked around this park a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel this park is a lot smaller.
Especially with all that stuff cut out.
Yeah. So I think we'll just kind of go around it by how the map is laid out. I know you guys probably can't see this.
Unless I decide to put up the map.
Hey, look, here it is. Maybe. So, yeah, we'll just kind of go around the map. This place is another one that has a lot of shopping and a lot of eating.
Maybe we should just go, like, down this list of things.
Well, I was kind of thinking we just go around this way.
Okay.
And up that way. So, all this area here is shopping. So, there's, like, a lake with kind of, like, a boat and like a cheesy looking Loch Ness monster in it. Yeah. We just kind of walked past it a few times. It doesn't seem like there's really much to do.
I think it's a restaurant.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But the first thing here is probably
The Indiana Jones show.
yeah. Let's just start with that
Yeah.
because that
What'd you
was
think
fun.
of that?
What I want to see what its name is.
The Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, I think.
I would love to believe you, but I can't find it.
Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular.
Yes, the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. It's like this was cool.
This was really cool.
I suggest everyone go see this.
Yeah.
So what is it? What it is? It's in a giant dome, and like there's a giant like setup of essentially the temple at the very beginning of the first Indiana Jones film, and like when the show starts, you see Indiana Jones' stunt double.
Yeah.
Going through and like evading all of these traps and stuff, and then like he's running away from the boulder and he gets squished. And then like all the people that are doing the filming like run out like, hey, are you okay? And he like jumps up, I'm fine, it's cool and stuff. And I mean, it's showing that, hey, this is just them filming some of the stunt work.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the show, they just kind of like go through various scenes of the movie.
Well, and the Indiana Jones stunt double comes up and like the director's there talking and he's like, we're so worried about that boulder because there's so much risk with it. And he's like, it weighs so much. It takes like 20 guys to get it back
in the
up
background,
there.
like 2 people are casually pushing it back into place.
Yeah, so it's like laughing. And they're like, well, that guy, he's like ripped. He has like the strength of 10 other guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of silly jokes in it. And it takes, and like, so they're like explaining how stunt work works in movies. I mean, obviously they explain that it's mostly they don't do this a whole lot anymore because everything's CG now.
Yeah.
So stunt work is, if there is any, it's done on a green screen and very little, which is sad. But this is just like talking about a lot of traditional stunt work and stuff, and it's really cool. And like as they're explaining all this stuff, the background pulls apart into a couple of different pieces and is driven off the stage, which this is a gigantic stage.
Yeah.
So it takes them a good 20 minutes to move this thing out of the way, and there's a whole nother set behind it. Which is like the
Morocco.
It's the marketplace that happens later in the movie, and then they go through a whole session of them running around fighting off bad guys in the marketplace, and like they're climbing up buildings and stuff. And there's pratfalls where people are like falling through roofs and stuff, and it's like this is all really cool.
And another neat thing is they got audience involved as well.
Yeah, they got like 10 members of the audience involved in like being up there and pretending to be the crowd and stuff, and it's all really cool. And like this A++++, 13 out of 7 stars.
Made of angels.
Made of angels. See this show. If you go to Hollywood Studios, see this show. Like, dead serious. If you don't do anything else there, I don't know why you'd go and see one show, but do it.
Well, that and one other show that comes later.
Yes.
Night.
Yeah. But no, seriously, this show is awesome. Don't miss it.
Yeah.
Best thing here.
Yeah, and they have like a big old plane that they essentially blow up.
Oh yeah, and like so that's 2 parts.
And a car they flip over.
Oh yeah, at the end of that, then they have like a bit of the car chase scene where they actually have the car flip over and explode with someone in the back of it who has to jump out.
Yeah, the stunt double for the lady actress.
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but the chick's stunt double. But then they also have like the plane fight scene with the huge ripped guy. And I mean, he
doesn't get shredded at the end.
He doesn't get shredded into meat chunks. They did change that because there were no actual blades on this plane.
Yeah.
So it's not like a 1-for-1 what happens in the movie, but it's still really cool.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap. Definitely worth seeing.
There are explosions.
Yeah, there are a lot of explosions. And all traditional explosions.
Okay, so even though we weren't part of this next thing, I want to talk about it.
Yes.
The Jedi training.
Yes.
Trials of the
Temple.
Yeah.
This is cool.
This is
really neat.
So you can have like your kids join up.
The Jedi Order.
Yeah, join up and be like part of the Jedi Order, and like they're given robes and
little play lightsabers.
And then they go and they meet people who are the characters?
I don't know if they're specifically trying to be specific characters from Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Oh, that'd be different. Is that anything like Food Wars?
Ugh.
Anyways, yeah, so there's just like various people pretending to be Jedis, and there's always like a duo where there's like the older wizened master, and then there's like the young hotshot who's
a young Padawan who's just like, I'm almost a Jedi.
Yeah,
Derp-a-doop-a-doo.
they go to this temple, and like the kids are shown how to fight with a lightsaber, like right swing, left swing, duck,
parry,
block, and like go for the head and stuff, and like they're showing all this stuff, and like they're encouraged to like use the Force, reach out with your hands, we can open the doors, and they do so, and then like apparitions of various Star Wars baddies come out, like.
And they have like these huge fog machines as they like come out.
And like Darth Vader and some High Inquisitor who I can only assume is from the Star Wars Rebels show. I haven't seen that show, I don't know.
Yeah.
They come out and the kids are like take turns fighting them off and stuff, and then after all that is done, then Kylo Ren comes out.
And there's a build up to it too, because the Padawan guy who's under the master is always like, "Oh, I'm so afraid of Kylo Ren. It's like he's so scary."
And then he comes out and he has to fight him off and stuff, and it's a really cool show. And if you have kids, that'd be like definitely have them go through it. I think you're only allowed to do it if you're up to like a certain age.
Probably.
Yep. 4 through 12.
4 through 12, yeah. But as a kid, this probably would make them like
awesome.
Yeah, like oh.
Yes. And so immediately next to this is
Star Tours.
Star Tours, which
we rode 3 times.
Because
the ride changes every time you ride it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you get into a little booth with like a bunch of seats on it, and it's supposed to be
a little mini theater.
Yeah, a mini theater, and the idea of it is that you're getting on like a starship and you're like going to take a tour of various places, and it's all going to turn out okay, but then everything goes wrong, of course, because C-3PO's in the driver's seat, and so you're thrown throughout various...
And R2-D2 is kind of like forcing you to go to places.
And you get... like it throws you into different scenarios, and the whole thing like jiggles around and stuff, and it's really cool. And yeah, we rode this 3 times, and we didn't get much variety. It's like we had there are 3 sections of the scenario, or like the scenario will have 3 different parts, and each of those parts can change. I think.
Yeah.
You have the opening part, which is generally you exiting the wherever it is that you're starting at, and then you jump into hyperspace, and then you have a different section, then you jump into hyperspace and have your final section where your ship eventually comes to a stop. So we watched it, and we had 3 different sections, and then later we went back on it again, and the first part was different, the second part was the exact same, and the third part was also different. So we rode it a third time, and we got all 3 sections were parts that we had seen in either the first or the second time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Whoops.
Well, we really like Naboo. like the ending section, we went to Naboo twice. One of the times we went to the ending section was going to Coruscant.
Yeah.
Which kind of flew through bits of the second and third movie. And then the middle section, every single time...
was The Force Awakens.
Was the Force Awakens section where...
Rey
and Bo. No, Bo? Shoot, I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Either way.
The ex-stormtrooper guy.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's when they're in the Millennium Falcon trying to escape near the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
Like, on the planet flying through all the wrecked ships and stuff, which is really cool. It's like, I'm fine with us getting that section 3 times in a row because it was
Yeah.
really cool.
Well, and as we were going into it the last time, one of the people who was standing like outside
Was about our age.
Yeah, it was about our
One
age.
of the cast, they were the cast member, like kind of ushering people in.
The line and stuff like that. We were both wearing Kingdom Hearts shirts that day, and she stopped us and she's like,
Oh my gosh, Kingdom Hearts!
she's like, did you see the
new trailer for like
2.8?
2.8? We're like, yes, we did, and we like all sat there like gushed about it for like 10 minutes because I mean this was, by the time we wrote it the second time, it was winding down to the end of the day, and like the ride line was literally just walking up to the ride.
Yeah, there was a quote-unquote 10-minute wait, which, was just the time it would take you to walk up to the ride.
And then get on. So, yeah, we had plenty of time to just sit there and talk, and it was a lot of fun. Actually, at this park as well, later we got ice cream, and the chick that was giving us the ice cream also commented on our shirts and saying that she really enjoyed them because she was also a fan of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Yeah. this whole podcast is going to be like our cool Disney vacation. Also, times we got to blather about Kingdom Hearts for a little.
Yeah. Shawn and Tennille's grand adventure to Disney and the search for Kingdom Hearts.
Search for Kingdom Hearts.
Because we like Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. So, past that, there's also like just some really cool like Star Wars shops in this place.
Yeah.
With lots of really cool things you could buy and stuff like that, as you can imagine.
A lot of Rogue One
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
There was Rogue One stuff
Surprise.
everywhere. And one thing I realized that I didn't realize to begin with, which makes me more excited for this movie. I mean, if you're watching this later, you've probably seen it. But as far as I can tell...
Way to date the podcast.
Well, as far as I can tell, the main cast for Rogue One has, like, no white males.
Yeah, it's a very diverse cast.
It's a very diverse cast. I mean, like,
Which
the main...
is cool.
Yeah, it's like the main character's another girl, and then we have, like, various minor ethnicities. We got, like, the black guy, the Asian guy, another guy that looks Asian, but, like, more like a weathered type dude. We got a random robot.
Yeah.
It's all really neat, and I'm...
happy about that.
I am A++ okay with this.
Yeah.
After that, there's like one part way back by itself.
Because all the other parts are closed.
Yeah, everything right next to it is the part that they're working on reconstructing, but this was the Muppet area.
Yeah, the Muppets!
Yeah, so we did the Muppet Vision 3D!
Woo! I love the Muppets, and you've never seen it!
No, I know who the Muppets are, but I've never actually seen the Muppet Show, or even the new renovated Muppet movies.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
What can I say?
You didn't grow up with TV.
No, I really didn't grow up with TV.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this was that was really fun, just watching it, because it's them doing silly 3D stuff, and obviously they're Muppets, so everything goes wrong.
Well, yeah, and it's like, a lot of the times they're talking like, oh, it's a 3D show, but we won't be pulling those stupid 3D tricks at you, or
right
throwing stuff in your face, and then, like, Fozzie Bear will come up, and he'll be like, Kermit, I've got, like, all these cool...
cheap 3D tricks!
And
yeah!
Doing, like, the little blow...
like, the little party thing where you,
blow and the thing pops out.
And, like, towards the audience, and, like, throwing glitter at people's faces and stuff. And I was like, thanks, Fozzie. Waka waka.
Waka waka. And then you had, like, the two grumpy old men.
Oh, yeah, who were actually in the room with you, commenting on the 3D silly show. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, and another cool thing is, like, there's a point where
they're shooting cannons at each other.
And the theater actually, like, deteriorates.
Yeah, like, various parts of the room, which you didn't realize it, were actually screens, and, like, they suddenly get hit by cannonballs, and, like, they're, like, getting destroyed as the show goes on, which is really cool.
Oh, and we can't forget the best line of the show. When Sam... Sam comes out,
it's
and
like,
Kermit's like, how's the fireworks
the finale going on?
And he's like, great, it's a tribute to all countries, but mostly America.
Yeah. Cool, you got 3 minutes. Ah!
Yeah, it's like it's a 3-hour show.
A 3-hour finale.
Dedicated to all countries, but mostly America. Cool, you have a minute. Ah!
It was all a lot of fun. I want to see more Muppet stuff because it's just a bunch of silly fun things. After this, we went to the very front middle of the thing, which is called the center stage, which is where they had a bunch of various Star Wars.
Yeah, like they just had
stuff.
a stage set there, and they were doing Star Wars stuff all day.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they would have like an hour break, but then like the First Order would show up, and like Phasma was there with a bunch of stormtrooper or like. Are they
Clone troopers, stormtroopers?
I think they're just called stormtroopers. The First Order stormtroopers, yeah, whatever. And they'd be there, and like she's quoting stuff. And one thing I noted is every single Star Wars character we saw that was there wore a mask. Every single one. And then there was Chewbacca.
Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, except for there was also Darth Maul there, but he's like got face paint on, so.
Yeah.
I mean, they did not. It's very clear they did not want to try to have somebody pretend to be like Harrison Ford or whoever plays Rey or anybody from the new movies.
Yeah.
If you don't wear a mask, you're not allowed to be here because we can't emulate you that easily.
Well, and it was mostly bad guys.
Yeah, it was almost solely bad guys.
But
and then
they did
Chewbacca.
have like a C-3PO and R2. And like a little BB-8.
Oh yeah, they actually had a BB-8 that like a full-size BB-8 that like rose out of the stage. He didn't actually roll anywhere, but he was there.
Yeah, he was cute. And they did have these like awesome. They're supposed to be like the ray guns or whatever that they use, and they shot fireworks out of them.
Oh yeah, like a couple of the First Order guys walked forward and like pointed their guns in the air and just shot fireworks out of it at one point. And they're like, "Whoa, wasn't expecting that." And the whole time they have like the super deep bass, like playing like the First Order music.
Yeah.
And it's like really cool. And like by the end, they're like marching down the main road. That was a lot of fun, and they did that various times throughout the thing. But in front of that, or right there, was the Great Movie Ride.
Yay!
Which was really neat because you got to go through a bunch of really old movies that I don't know a lot of them.
What ones did you know? Your silence is encouraging. You knew Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I knew Wizard of Oz, and
you know Singing in the Rain.
Singing in the Rain, and I know Alien exists. I haven't actually seen it.
I mean, I haven't seen it either, but I mean...
Was there an actual Indiana Jones section?
No.
Okay. But, I mean, like, there's various other, like, famous old Western stars and stuff like that who I recognized, but...
They had, like, Casablanca.
Yeah, and I've never actually seen those movies is the thing. And so that was just really neat to just go through it because they had really cool
cheesy like show that goes with it. That's like like the tour guide gets abducted and stuff like that. But
it's really silly.
Yeah, like that's really silly. But if you're just looking at like how they put these movie sets together and stuff that's really cool.
It's really cool.
And what I also love is while you're waiting in line, yet again, me loving the wait in the line. Like a nerd. They have
you
like
are a nerd.
I'm a total nerd. Like truly though, my favorite part is waiting in line because they have a little like documentary going on,
just talking about
the movies
and how they were made and stuff. Yeah, it's just really cool seeing how all this old stuff is done.
Like when your ride ends, they show like a bunch of movies, and they even have like scenes from Blazing Saddles where Mongo punches the horse, and it like...
Was that in there?
Yeah, it was there.
I saw the part where the dude was kidnapping himself.
Oh yeah, that.
Help! Shut up!
Blazing Saddles is amazing, but the fact that Disney has a ride that shows scenes from Blazing Saddles makes me happy, especially the part where Mongo punches the horse and knocks it out.
I seriously don't remember that part.
Yeah.
But then again, I've only seen that movie once.
Oh, it's
sort of.
It's brilliant because it's just this guy and he goes wham, and this horse goes.
But the ride was really neat. But actually, the building that it's in is stylized after like the Chinese
theater.
It's
like the Chinese theater
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And on the ground in front of it is a bunch of actual handprints and like signatures from famous movie actors and stuff from throughout like the years. Many of them who have been in Disney movies, but others of just like other associated films and stuff. Like
Jim Carrey was there. Robin Williams had his whole family.
Yeah,
do
and you
it.
could see like Zelda Williams' tiny little hands because it was like way back in the 80s when they signed it.
Yeah, it was so cute.
It's so cool seeing all them, and like Samuel L. Jackson was in there, and just a lot of actors who I knew and many that I didn't know.
Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, it's like I'm really bad at names, so I didn't know a lot of them. And of course, they had things like they had Goofy and Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. But yeah, it was really cool. And they also have some people like Charlie Sheen.
Well, was it Jim Carrey who had like put his face into it? And
there was various people that
wrote in his like, this is my nose.
Yeah. There are actually various people that did put their face in it as well.
Yeah. That was really funny.
It's cool. It's like, I just liked walking around that area and just seeing all of them. There was, Home Alone kid.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin had his there as well,
Yeah.
like from when he was a kid.
Yeah, so, or was it him or was it Haley Joel Osment?
Sora?
Yeah.
I can't remember. It might have been both. It's one of those two, or maybe even both of them, yeah.
But it was like them as a kid, so...
It was really cool. I know Macaulay Culkin was there.
Okay.
I can't remember if Haley Joel Osment was as well or not.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to say he was, but I might just be like...
Filling the gaps
in my of my memory in there and hoping he was, because he's awesome. I see dead people.
I see dead.
I mean, there's a very good chance he could have done it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he hasn't just done Kingdom Hearts. He's been in many...
Yeah, he's also done drugs.
What?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know that part.
I mean, he was a child actor.
Anyways. Past that, we get back to the animation courtyard, which has a lot of stuff we actually did do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Pixar area first.
Okay.
There was like a small store there with Pixar stuff, but that...
Hey, howdy, hey!
Yeah. But there's also the Toy Story Mania, which is the better version of the Buzz Lightyear laser pointer shooter game.
Shawn says because he won.
Anyways,
no, he's totally right. It is totally better because like
you get 3D glasses in this one, and your cannons are actual like little toy cannons with like the pull string on the back, and it's seriously as fast as you can pull that, it will shoot, and
it shoots stuff like up on the screen.
Yeah, it shoots things onto the screen, and like you have to like tip it around and stuff. So you're just sitting there like it's a shooting gallery, and you just shoot as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about this one,
it's got like a very satisfying.
The nice thing about this one is that if you pull the string back, even if you're not in front of the screens or anything like that, the cannon makes
very satisfying click.
Yeah, like it goes like pop, 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 pop. And
you know you've done it.
Yeah, it's not like with a lot of those like laser pointer kind of rides where you're trying to shoot stuff, where it's like you're shooting and you have to try and find your little red dot to see if it's actually working or not. This, you know it's working because it makes a sound.
And each player has a different colored cannon, and the balls that show up on the screen are your color, so you know who you are.
Like, it was only Shawn and I in our ride.
Yeah.
Because it's like a 2-person seat, and then you go around. And you're not, like, competing with trying to look at what other people are doing as well.
Yeah, it's just like a 1v1 type of thing, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, I did win that one, but I just think it works a lot better.
Yeah. And we would have probably done that one again.
But that one had a really long line.
Yeah, that one had a really long line.
Because it was a really good ride.
Yeah. And it was definitely one of those rides that, like, I could see kids wanting to do over and over again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I could see anybody wanting to do that again.
Yeah.
It was just really
we
fun.
wanted to.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so that was mostly all the Pixar stuff there was. I mean, there was, like, the green soldier men walking around.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
People dressed up as the army men.
Next to this was the Walt Disney One Man's Dream.
Yeah. And I think, if I'm not wrong, I think there used to be a little documentary about Walt at the end of that.
But they changed it.
But they changed it to be like a preview for Doctor Strange right now. Okay, sorry guys, we had to cut away there for a little bit. But we're back.
Anyways, we're talking about One Man's Dream.
Yeah.
Walt Disney. So, yeah, we kind of... Now our cat's running around really crazy. Anyways, so this one was really neat. It was kind of just going through Disney's life.
Yeah, just a dedication to Walt.
Going over a lot of the major advantages and stuff he did.
Yeah. Advantages?
Advancements?
Yeah. That was a weird word choice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It works.
Yeah, this... It's neat because they have, like, a lot of things like Walt's desk when he was a kid. And, they tell a very brief history of his life. But they also have things there like, the Abraham Lincoln...
Yeah, the original Abraham Lincoln... Animatronic.
And just, like, you can... They have things pulled off of it so that you can, like, see the inner workings of it.
Yeah, and that was
holy
crazy.
Cow, it's just, like, filled with wires. But the thing that always strikes me when I go into that is how little people know about Walt.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's just all these other people around, and they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Or they're, like, saying things that they've heard from other people but aren't true. Things like that. And I'm someone who studied Walt Disney for a long time, and so for me, going through that, it's cool to see, like, these relics, but, I mean, it's mostly information I know.
Yeah.
The kind of cool thing, though, is that hearing other people get...
Amazed by hearing all this new information.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely don't know anywhere near as much as you do, but I still find it really cool and neat to see all this stuff as well.
Yeah.
And it also has, it has the brief segment where Walt is actually explaining what Epcot is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Except it only explains, like, the first part. It's only the first part of it. It doesn't actually get in depth as to what he really wanted Epcot to be. But we'll talk about that next time.
When we talk about Epcot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, this is neat, but... And, of course, it ends off in the 60s with, he dies.
Well, but they don't really talk about it.
I mean, they don't talk
much.
about his death, but, I mean, the last stuff about it is stuff that happened in the 60s, and, like, the last couple movies he had his hands in and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then in the back, where they probably had the brief documentary, they've replaced with a preview show for... when we were there, it was for Doctor Strange.
Because Doctor Strange was coming out.
Also, this is like the only Marvel thing we saw anywhere at all, period.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah, and I'm sure that if we were there, like, now, or even, like, a couple of weeks from now...
It's probably, like, Moana.
Yeah, Moana previews.
Or maybe First Order after that.
You mean Rogue One?
Rogue One?
Yeah.
It'll probably be Rogue One after that.
Yeah, it's like they probably just have a preview for whatever
upcoming movie
about
they
to come out.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because more people should know stuff about Walt.
Yeah. It's like we could have had the chance to go see Doctor Strange if we cared.
Yeah, but we're like,
Marvel's
we're having fun
neat.
Walking around the parks instead.
Marvel's neat, I guess, but I prefer Disney stuff. After that, we went over to the more of the actual Disney stuff with Voyage of the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, and this ride you can tell is kind of old because like things look a little old, and when you walk in, they do a couple of like water themed effects.
This is another one of those.
The place is a little damp.
Yeah, this place is another one of those stage shows, kind of like the Dory, or not the Dory, the Finding Nemo one.
Yeah.
But this one's only 15 minutes long, and they only have like 2 to 5, like 2 songs, and it's not even attempting to tell the story.
Yeah,
it's just kind of a couple of major moments.
Yeah.
And I would say skip this one.
Yeah, it's...
Unless your child is die-hard Little Mermaid fan and has to do every last thing Little Mermaid based, skip it. I can easily see this one being taken out soon because there are better Little Mermaid stuff that is a lot newer in some of the other, and nicer in some of the other parks.
Yeah. And it's like the girl who was playing Ariel.
Oh yeah,
like her costume was cool,
and she did a good job.
Thing was cool. It's just like, I don't know. It's time for it to change.
Yeah, I can see this being one of the things they change soon.
Don't change it to some Frozen thing, though, please.
Because, yeah, we'll just let you know there's a lot of Frozen stuff here as well. For some reason at Hollywood Studios, there's a lot of...
Well, I mean, it's fitting for it to be here.
Okay, yeah. But we didn't do any of the Frozen stuff, so don't ask.
It's not that we don't dislike Frozen either, by the way. It's just like a lot of the Frozen stuff had really big lines, and like
we're not that interested.
Yeah,
in like standing in a long line just to hear "Let It Go" again because we already heard it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Within a couple days.
Yeah.
And that's a good song, but we just don't need it that many times. What else is here?
They had like the Disney Junior.
Yeah, there was like a
where you could go, like your kids could go meet a
lot of the Disney Junior characters.
They had like
and
Sophia the First and Jake and the Neverland Pirates there.
Adelaide, was that her name?
Yeah, like the new
like Sophia princess lady
of. I want to say Avalon, but that's from King's Quest.
I don't know. But whatever. She was around quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
So that's neat. I think it's cool that they add stuff like that in there. I don't watch Disney Junior, so I don't really know much about it.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool nonetheless.
There's also quite a bit of, like, Lion Guard merchandise.
Yes, there's a lot of Lion Guard stuff around. In this area, there's also the Star Wars launch bay, which we didn't really do a whole lot of. We kind of went through backwards, I think.
Yeah.
But that's just because we went into like the shopping area and then we just kept going back through it that way.
Yeah.
And there's just a bunch of really neat artwork and stuff. And like they had like some of the costumes or replica costume stuff of various films there. Like these were like Poe Dameron's boots or something, and this was Rey's little pistol she had for like 5 minutes in the movie.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. That was all really neat.
And the cast members had like an actual working BB-8, like going around the store.
Which you can buy those.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like the little tiny BB-8s that roll around and you can stuff. That stuff is neat. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's most everything in this area.
Okay. So then we have like the Sunset Boulevard,
which again, is mostly just shops this time. And we walked through it, and obviously there's cool stuff everywhere. But we did go to the... Stop it, cat.
Our cat is getting really pesky.
Like she's biting my arm and stuff. Go away.
Throw toys for her. There we go. Okay.
Anyways, Beauty and the Beast show.
Yeah, and this brought back a whole bunch of memories for both of us. Oh boy,
because this was a live show.
Very much based on the musical of the same name.
30 minutes long.
Yeah. So, we actually, in high school, did a production of Beauty and the Beast.
Uh-huh.
And
I didn't enjoy it much because I was Maurice the dad.
I was Mrs. Potts, so I enjoyed it a little bit more.
So they completely cut Maurice in their version of the show.
Yeah.
It's like we have the songs of, like, the first one, bonjour, bonjour.
Yeah.
Like,
Bell.
and then she sings about, I want to venture in the great wide somewhere. And then it immediately cuts to, bad things happened, and now she's in the castle.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much the excuse they gave, and it just jumped right into be our guest, essentially.
Well, I mean, people going to Disney, it's like, okay, guys, we know you've seen Beauty and the Beast. We don't really need to...
Yeah. We don't need all this dark and gritty stuff.
Yeah, we can just skip right to the songs, because we know that's what you want.
Yeah. And, yeah, it was neat. And, wow, the flashbacks were real.
I felt bad for the person who had to work in that Beast costume.
Yeah, because it's hard to emote in a
Big
big,
fursuit.
bulky fursuit that doesn't leave much to your shoulders or head.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see this dude's shoulders or head, so he just kind of had to, like, move his whole body to move his head, and, like, his arms had minimal movement, and he's trying to emote and stuff in this. It's like, I feel bad for you, dude, because it's not going to work out well.
Yeah, it's hard to make Beauty and the Beast a show, let alone a stage show.
Mm-hmm.
Because, especially with Disney's Beast, if they're trying to capture that beast, it's like, how are they going to make it so that he's the same, like...
As the animated character.
Yeah, it's like, the Beast moves a lot, and he's part animal.
He looks like a beast. He moves like a beast.
Yeah, and it's like, you can't do that wearing a big fursuit.
Yeah, so that's kind of sad and a little disappointing. But other than that, I mean, the show hits the big story points mostly.
They sing the songs.
They sing the songs. It was neat. That one's... I would suggest this one over either the Little Nemo show or the...
Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Because this one definitely had a higher production value.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot more.
And Gaston was fun.
Oh, Gaston ate the stage. No LeFou. LeFou was also cut from the show.
I mean, I'm not surprised. They had 30 minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, Gaston was probably the best part of that. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, the Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith.
Again, last time I was here, it was gone. It was down. I think it was just down for like the evening, but that was the only day we were there.
And it was down completely for renovations right now.
Yeah.
The time that we went. So we did not get to ride that. So we cannot make any opinions on it.
Nope.
Moving on to the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
This place is neat.
Uh-huh.
The Twilight Zone is one of those things I've also barely ever seen, and what I've seen has kind of been cheesy and hokey.
But that's what it is.
I mean, yeah. And they nailed it. Holy cow. I love the atmosphere of this place.
Uh-huh.
Like, I think this might have been some of the best atmosphere out of everything we saw, and everything's good, but this one's just, like, really good. And, like, you go down into the basement to board, like, this back elevator and stuff, and, like, before we even get on, there are kids crying.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
And like kids like freaking, like they're like, oh, and they're like asking their parents, they're like, we're not gonna die, are we?
It essentially what this ride is it's one of those that you get into the thing and it like shoots you up and then drops you down and it goes up and down quite a bit, and then that's all the ride is. But the atmosphere leading up to all that was very well done, and
they even have a Twilight Zone
opening
where like
the cart
they give
is
you
slowly
the story
wheeling
behind the hotel.
Yeah, where like people were in the elevator and then it was struck by lightning and it got destroyed and all those people died.
Yeah.
And now it's your turn to ride in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and then like
the cart is wheeling
to your ride,
forward and it has like all the bits from the opening to the Twilight Zone, like the door and the I and the E equals MC squared, which is just silly.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. I don't like rides that are the, like, drop you and go up and down. I don't like that sinking sensation. But...
It felt very safe.
Yeah, but I like the Twilight Zone because you are sitting and you have your feet on something. Like, you have your feet on, quote-unquote, solid ground.
And your hair can't get ripped out because there's nothing to grab it.
Yeah, it just feels a lot more safe than a lot of those other kinds of rides that are similar to it.
Yeah. So I would also recommend this ride. It was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Loved the atmosphere.
So is that pretty much everything except
Yeah,
for
I think that's
show?
it. Nope, that's all. This has been
No. There's the show.
Yes. So, after the park closes at Hollywood Studios, you get to go all the way back behind everything else and sit in a giant amphitheater and see Fantasmic.
Yeah! Best show. Well, no, not best show. Best show is later. But, like,
This is arguably
one of the best shows.
This is the second best show.
Yeah.
Fantasmic is a giant celebration of
Disney.
everything Disney.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
I mean, mostly the animated movies. I mean, it's not everything Disney.
That's what I count as everything Disney.
True.
The animated films are Disney, everything else is knockoff Disney.
Even though it's purely Disney.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's never as good. So, this is neat. It's like they got a giant island out there where people...
With like a big mountain.
With a big mountain on it, and people are climbing around on it. There are actors out there. They'll have like giant puppetry, like characters come out, like a giant snake, Jafar, and then like
giant like waterworks that go up and have lights on it.
Yeah,
to
there are
show,
waterworks
bits of
and like
movies.
things pop out of things, and like they'll have boats go across the water. There was like a whole like 10-minute section in the middle of this thing that was just Pocahontas.
And like to start it off, they like had like a cannon blast kind of noise, which was really loud.
Oh yeah, and then like the villain, a bunch of different villains come around, including Chernabog.
Yeah.
And then there's like a giant Maleficent that's like shooting fireworks at the guy in the Mickey Mouse costume.
Yeah, he's like wearing the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, because apparently Fantasmic is all happening inside Mickey's dreams.
Yeah, it's like the power of imagination.
And then it becomes like a
nightmare.
and then he fights back and he wins. And at one point in the show, they literally set the lake on fire.
Yeah.
It's all really cool. And then by the end, like a big old steamboat from Steamboat Willie comes out. And there are just characters, like a bunch of characters.
All over this thing.
All over the steamboat, like dancing and singing and like waving to the crowd as it goes around.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And like that's about the only spot that we saw Mulan riding on the steamboat.
Yeah.
Which was sad. It'd have been nice if she was around more. She's one of my favorite Disney princesses who's not a princess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Disney heroines.
Yeah. That's a good term for it.
Yes.
Yeah, Fantasmic is awesome. And then there's like fireworks.
Oh yeah, there's fireworks. There's just a bunch of stuff that goes on. Like, this is probably most people's favorite shows, but we like the next one more just for other reasons, and we'll explain why.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, there. Now I think we've covered everything.
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm
look,
trying to...
it's about the same length as
What did we
yesterday.
eat when we were here? We just ate at like another casual restaurant.
Yeah, we just ate at another restaurant that had the same food as everywhere else, and
Oh, we did get, when we were back about to start going in for Fantasmic, we did get like ice cream.
yeah,
That was really good.
It
I
was
had
like-
like an apple crisp thing, and like the apple crisp was so warm, the ice cream melted really fast. So I
Yes.
ate it really fast, but oh man, that was good.
and then I think I had like cookies and cream, and I just like stuck a cone in the top of it.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. That was really good too.
Yeah.
And that was where we met one of the other girls that was also a big fan of Disney.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't stop and talk to her because she was very busy in the middle of stuff.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That covers days 3 and 4. We only have 3 days left, and we'll probably cover all 3 of those in the next one.
Yeah. So,
And I think this ended up being about the same length as our last podcast. Hopefully we can keep the other one close as well.
yeah. Yeah, and I guess I want to say Hollywood Studios, I really, really like it, but
it seems to be
definitely
missing a lot right now.
Yeah, it definitely felt a little lacking without like that whole section of the park that I was talking about earlier. Because
it seems they're tearing, like, we could see, they're definitely tearing all of that stuff down and putting something new in there. And we have no idea what that is, when it's going to open.
Yeah.
My suspicions, I might be completely wrong on this, but this is just my guess, is they're going to be putting like Marvel stuff back there.
Yeah, which would make sense.
Because there's nothing else in the parks with Marvel at all, and Disney owns Marvel, and Marvel has a very successful movie franchise going on right now.
Yeah. I'm sad to see those things that I mentioned, though, go. Like the Streets of America backdrops and the car stunt show. Like, those were really neat.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, with that kind of melancholy note, we'll end off this second podcast of our Disney trip.
Yeah, next section is
Epcot.
A lot of fun!
Is Epcot and anything else we happened to do while we were around on our trip.
Yeah.
So,
kind of the rest of the catch-all.
Yep. Well, meet back tomorrow or
whenever I get
a
this
week,
out.
Or I don't know how fast these are being uploaded.
Yeah.
So, yeah. See y'all in the next one.
Bye-bye!